Quantum AI. It's a term you hear thrown around a lot, right? But what does it actually mean? Turns out that's a tricky question, because depending on who you talk to, you're going to get wildly different answers. For some folks, it's a super precise tool for hardcore science. For others, well, it's a blueprint to redesign our entire world. So today, we're going to dive into both of these worlds. And that really is the big question here, isn't it? Is quantum AI just a fancy tool for scientists in a lab? Or is it this grand system meant to solve all of humanity's problems? We're about to jump into two totally separate universes that, get this, use almost the exact same words to describe what they're doing. It's wild. All right, first up, let's get our feet on the ground and start with the science. We're talking about the world of peer-reviewed papers, of university labs, where AI is being used for quantum computing. Let's see what that looks like. So to really get this, we've got to start with the basics. What even is quantum computing, or QC? Well, think of it like this. It's a completely new way of computing. It taps into the super weird and wonderful rules of quantum mechanics to solve problems that are just impossible for our regular classical computers. We're talking problems that would make even the world's biggest supercomputers just give up. Okay, so that's the quantum part. What about the AI? When scientists are talking about AI, they're not just talking about one thing. They see it as this nested set of tools. You got the huge umbrella of artificial intelligence. Under that, you get more specific with machine learning. And even deeper, you have deep learning. And right in the middle, you have the stuff we're all hearing about now, generative AI. That's the toolbox they're pulling from. So, how does that AI toolbox actually help you build a quantum computer? It's not just one simple task. AI is woven into the entire process, right from the get-go. I mean, it's helping to design the actual physical hardware. Then it helps get the data ready, it helps control the quantum device while it's running, and it's even there at the end, cleaning up the results and correcting errors. It's like the ultimate lab assistant, involved in every single step. But, and this is a big but, we have to get a little reality check here from the scientists. As powerful as AI is, it's still a classical technology. It runs on our regular computers. It can't just wave a magic wand and solve the deep fundamental puzzles of quantum mechanics. It's an incredible helper, for sure, but it can't be the quantum computer. The analogy I like is it's the brilliant navigator who can map out the stars, but it can't actually build the spaceship. Okay, deep breath. We are now leaving the lab behind. We're about to step into a totally different universe, one that takes those same words we've been using, quantum and AI, and uses them to paint a picture that is just astronomically bigger. This is the big pivot point. The people behind this next idea, they're not asking about how to build a better computer. They're asking a completely different question. They hear quantum intelligence, and they don't see a tool for research. They see a new operating system for all of human civilization. So let me introduce you to GENII. That stands for Generative Intentional Intelligence. And right off the bat, you notice something different. They talk about quantum intelligence, which they pronounce chi. But here's the twist. It has absolutely nothing to do with quantum computers. For them, it's all about using predictive algorithms to find the path of least resistance to solve humanity's biggest problems. The word quantum here is more of a metaphor, a concept. And this really gets to the heart of what GENII is trying to fix. On one side, you have their diagnosis of the world's problem. We're all running on a scarcity operating system. You know, this core belief that there's just not enough to go around. And on the other side, you have their solution, a new system built on the idea of abundance, one that focuses on the basics first, things like clean air, healthy food, and safety for everybody. So, a vision this big, you've got to wonder, how is it supposed to actually work? It's not just about writing some code. What we're looking at here is a whole ecosystem designed from the ground up with a really specific structure. And here's the blueprint. It's called the ethical leadership ecosystem. The whole idea is to create a kind of pipeline. It starts with a person's own internal ethics and scales that all the way up to have a real impact on the world. You can see it's built in these layers, and that bottom layer, the foundation, is ethics. Everything else grows from there. Let's just quickly walk through these layers. It all starts with the individual, with ethical leadership. The philosophy here is you have to build the person before you can build the world. Next up is narrative, which is all about taking those ethics and weaving them into a story that makes sense to people. From there, you move to industry and economics. That's where you turn those values into actual sustainable projects. And the final layer, civilization design. That's the grand plan to scale this whole thing up to a global level without it all falling apart. Okay, but a system this ambitious and powerful, how do you make sure it stays safe? How do you put guardrails on it? Well, their answer is something called KEPA. Think of it like a protective dome around the AI. And its core programming is dead simple. Just 3 rules. Number 1, do no harm. Number 2, do good when you can. And number 3, if you're not sure about something, just ask a human. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. How does a massive, world-changing plan like this even get started? You'd probably think it would take a huge government contract or some billion-dollar research grant, right? Well, you'd be wrong. The first step, the minimum viable product for this entire vision for a new human operating system, it's not what you're expecting. It's not a supercomputer in a basement. It's not a 500-page academic paper. It's a lunch. And that one quote just says it all, doesn't it? The whole strategy is to take this huge abstract idea of a new economy and make it something you can hold in your hand, something you can, well, eat. It's about proving the theory with action, not just words. And that lunch is this, the BarNess Miracle Bar. This humble-looking food bar is positioned as the MVP for the entire system. It's meant to be the very first physical proof of concept for their economic model. The idea is to prove that their principles work in the real world, starting with something as fundamental as nutrition. All right, let's get to the final piece of this puzzle. And it's all about the sheer confidence this system has in itself. And trust me when I say bold, I mean really bold. Check this out. The project offers a guarantee that is, well, it's pretty staggering. They promise to help you manifest your dream, and they also promise to double your investment year over year until that dream comes true. And if it doesn't, you get all your money back, 100%. So you have to ask, how on earth can they make a promise like that? Well, according to them, the answer is simple. They have total, unshakable faith in their quantum intelligence predictive algorithms. They believe their system is so good, so accurate at finding that path of least resistance for you, that they're literally willing to put their money where their mouth is. So here we are. We've seen 2 completely different worlds, both flying the banner of quantum AI. On one side, you have a precise scientific tool that's helping to build the next generation of computers. And on the other, you have this sweeping, visionary blueprint for the future of humanity itself. Which leaves us with one final big question to chew on. When the very specific language of science gets tangled up with the massive machinery of human ambition, how do we tell the difference between the algorithm and the dream?